This is Plant-Based Briefing. I went whole food plant-based at 60 and reversed sleep apnea and prediabetes by Elisa Dworak at forksoverknives.com. And I'm Marian Erickson, host of this curated content plant-based podcast, where I narrate a variety of articles on plant-based and vegan living with permission in about 10 minutes or less every weekday. And I'm thrilled to have permission from Forks Over Knives to share their content. I love their success stories. They're so inspirational. And if you haven't seen it, or even if it's been a while, I recommend watching the documentary Forks Over Knives. You can watch it for free at their website or on YouTube. So now let's get to today's plant-based briefing. I went whole food plant-based at 60 and reversed sleep apnea and prediabetes by Elisa Dworak at forksoverknives.com. I never liked meat, so I went vegetarian as a young adult, and I dabbled in veganism starting in 2011. But I ate lots of unhealthy vegan foods like potato chips, French fries, Oreo cookies, and dairy-free Ben & Jerry's. I used food, especially highly processed, salty and sweet foods, as a coping mechanism. The more I ate, the more I wanted. I've since learned that food manufacturers specifically engineer their ultra-processed foods with bliss points to keep consumers hooked. In November 2019, I reached a milestone birthday, turning 60, but instead of celebrating, I felt depressed. I was severely overweight, had sleep apnea, and was pre-diabetic. A new beginning during the pandemic. When the pandemic hit in March 2020, my job transitioned to remote work. I lived alone and was feeling lonely in the first few weeks, but one day I realized that this would be the perfect opportunity to look within and start taking care of myself. I had watched the Forks Over Knives documentary, so I was aware of the whole food plant-based lifestyle. I decided to give it a shot and see if it was something I could sustain. I did some research on the Forks Over Knives website, downloaded the Forks Over Knives recipe app for cooking inspiration, and took things one day at a time. Soon, my depression began to lift. Seeking a gym alternate during the pandemic, I purchased resistance bands and an elliptical machine so I could work out at home. Movement became an essential part of my routine. Discovering the joy of cooking. I really enjoyed getting into my kitchen and using my blender to make hummus, smoothies, salad dressings, fruit sorbet, oat milk, and date paste. I loved that I didn't have to count calories or worry about portion sizes, and I never went hungry. I found the food to be filling and satisfying and very beautiful with all the vibrant colors of the plant world. To make sure I stayed on track even during busy days, I started planning ahead. I cooked big pots of soup and chili on the weekends, so there were plenty of leftovers for the upcoming week. I kept an assortment of cooked grains and potatoes, steamed and raw vegetables, greens, and a few dressings or sauces in the fridge, as well as canned beans and whole wheat pasta and wraps in my pantry. That way I could mix and match and have healthy meals on the ready. I started always carrying some fruit in my purse in case I got hungry on the go. For an evening treat, I turned to homemade sorbet or a few squares of 85% dark chocolate. Soon, my clothes were getting loose, and I could see myself slimming down when I looked in the mirror. 5 years on. I wasn't sure where this lifestyle would take me, but over the past 5 years, I've gradually lost 115 pounds and reversed my prediabetes and sleep apnea. One of my proudest moments of this journey was getting skin removal surgery on my arms in fall 2023 so I could wear a sleeveless dress for my niece's wedding. I stayed with my sister for a few days to recover. Prior to that, she had expressed concern that I might not be eating enough since I was losing so much weight. But as I stayed with her and she saw the large volume of food I ate, she stopped worrying and told my mom to stop worrying too. Just to be safe, I had a physical, and my lab results were all normal. Achieving a healthy BMI was a milestone I never thought possible. I believe my body knows the best weight for me when I nourish it properly and stay active. A passion for helping others. When we returned to the office in fall 2022, my coworkers were shocked to see the new me and asked how I had done it. I love sharing resources, encouragement, and tips with those who are interested. Last year, I earned my certificate in plant-based nutrition through the Center for Nutrition Studies, and I plan to enroll in a certified health and wellness coaching program within the next year after I retire. I've also expanded my exercise routine to include Zumba, yoga, and weightlifting. When I lift a 45-pound weight plate at the gym, I can't believe I used to carry over twice that amount as excess weight on my body. No wonder I had 4 falls, resulting in injuries in the 2 years before adopting this lifestyle. Carrying that much weight made movement awkward and difficult. These days, I feel light and nimble. Now at 65, I'm in the best shape of my life and thriving. I'm excited for the next chapter and hope to inspire and support others who want to improve their health through a whole food plant-based lifestyle. You just listened to I Went Whole Food Plant-Based at 60 and Reversed Sleep Apnea and Prediabetes by Elisa Dworak at forksoverknives.com. And I'm your host, Marian Erickson. I love reading about her excitement with the cooking and the amazing foods and the beautiful foods and the delicious foods that you can eat on this lifestyle. I remember that excitement. It's such a creative thing to be able to do, to cook all these wonderful foods. And I realize not everybody has time, not everybody has a kitchen. It is a privilege, but it is a really joyful one if you're able to do it. And I also found it interesting. I hadn't really considered having all the extra weight and how, of course, it's difficult to get around, but I never thought about the risk of falling because of it. So that was an interesting point for me. So please share this episode with anyone who might benefit, and thanks for listening.